Hello everyone, welcome to another podcast, episode 40 today of the Chatbox podcast back from July with Stuart Niclson, so here it is. Hello and welcome to another Chatbox podcast. It's episode 40 of the Chatbox podcast here today. How are you doing today? Right, let's crack on. As you know, each week I have a guest to talk about their career or job. So let's crack on with this week's guest. It's broadcaster Stuart Niclson. Hello, Stuart. Welcome
Hi,
along.
Ben. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I feel very, very privileged. And you know what? I've interviewed some big names in my time, but I always get quite scared when people interview me, especially you. Now you're a bit of a legend, aren't you?
Not a legend, just a person who loves broadcasting.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Cheers. Thank you. This is the Chatbox podcast. Ben Lister, live on Hull Kingston Radio, and and maybe the world one day, and maybe toppling on top of the world one day. Who knows? Who knows? Right. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm really, really good. And the sun is shining today after a few days of heavy rain from where I am in South Yorkshire. So, yeah, it's great that I've got my shorts on. You can't see them, Ben, but I've got my shorts on today. I'm making the most of the sunshine.
What part of South Yorkshire are you based in today?
Well, I'm in between Rotherham and Doncaster, which fits nicely into the two radio stations I run. So we've got a radio station called RB1 Radio for Rotherham and South Yorkshire, and then we've got TX1 Radio, which is for Doncaster and Worksop. So I sort of live in between Rotherham and Doncaster in a little place called Barnborough. It's a little village just in between. So, yeah, it's nice to be in the middle of two broadcast areas.
And where is your broadcast base? Does RB1 and TX1 have a base of operation, a studio for them?
Yeah, our main office is in a place called Sprotborough, which is just in sort of the central area of Doncaster. We've got some offices there. At the moment, we haven't got studios. We broadcast all our broadcasters have got their own studios at home, but you know we've been set back with the COVID and the lockdown, so we would have had studios by now if that hadn't happened, but we are going to have them obviously in the next 6 to 12 months. So yeah, we look forward to building those so we can all be back together. There's nothing better than a broadcaster being able to cross over with the next presenter for the next show and being able to share stories and share broadcasting ideas, which we haven't been able to do apart from doing it over Teams and video messaging.
Yeah, that's good. 5 questions about your broadcast career today, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
If that's okay, you ready to rumble in the jungle?
I'm ready to rumble in the jungle. Let's go for it, Ben.
Question 1. Where did you start your broadcast career?
Well, it was back when I was 18 years old. I've been on the radio since 18. It's pretty much the only job I've ever done. So I used to live in Nottinghamshire in a place called Mansfield. And I used to love listening to radio. And it was my dream to be on radio one day. So I bought my local newspaper, which is called The Chad in Mansfield. And I was looking through the centre pages. And in the centre pages, I saw a big article saying radio presenters wanted for a new local community radio station called Radio Mansfield. So there was an email address. It was before, social media, WhatsApp and all that. So I had to physically email a guy called Phil, who invited me along to the studios. And I did a bit of a show reel. And he offered me the evening show on what was then, it's called Mansfield 103.2 now, but it was called Radio Mansfield. And we did trial broadcasts, what they call RSLs, restricted service licenses. So yeah, that's how it all started back for me back in 1996 after seeing that advertisement in the local newspaper. Went along and it's all history now, but that radio station is going. It's still called Mansfield 103.2. I got a full-time job on that station. And then after a couple of years on there, a guy called Sean Goldsmith heard me from what was Peak FM. And I know you've spoke to Sean in a previous podcast. And Sean invited me to come along for a meeting with the managers of UTV. That's who owned Peak FM back in the day. And they were looking for a new drive time presenter. So I applied for that, left Mansfield 103.2, went to Peak FM, and did a few years on there as well. So yeah, it's been quite a busy sort of few years with broadcasting on different stations. Then after Peak FM, I got spotted by the Lynx FM group, and I got offered a Saturday show on a radio station called Trax FM, which is no longer. And that was based in Doncaster, where now TX1 Radio is based. I went to do a Saturday show on there. And because Trax FM had other stations under its umbrella, like Lynx FM, it had Ridings FM, Rother FM, Dern FM, I got offered the breakfast show on Rother FM, which I was on there for near on 7 years. That was a great experience. And obviously, Lynx FM group got bought out by Bauer, and then had my redundancy just last year with Bauer. And then obviously we started up the TX1 radio and RB1 radio. So yeah, it's been a great, well, I've had a great career in radio. And as I said, it's sort of lasted from me being 18 to leaving school and college when I did media to where we are now, being the program controller of 2 big radio stations across Rotherham and South Yorkshire and Doncaster and Bassetlaw. So yeah, that's how I started my broadcast career, Ben.
Nice. And yeah, I've started at Hull Kingston Radio, which was good. And I'm hoping to break some more boundaries, because out with the autism show that's coming out, it's going to be good.
It is going to be fantastic, and I've listened to what you do as well, Ben, and you do a great show. So keep up the good work, mate.
Thank you. And I'm hoping to be picked up by bigger and bigger stations in the future, but keep my community radio roots. And that's the only thing that I'm going to say to other stations. As long as I can keep my show Hull Kingston Radio, I'll do the other shows for you.
Well, hopefully the next time we talk, Ben, I'll be interviewing you. How about that?
Yeah, one day. Who knows?
No,
you'll have to come down to the banks of the Humber there.
Yeah, well, you keep following your dreams, and honestly, you'll get there, mate. You'll get there. Keep up the good work.
You can interview me sometime whenever you like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I'll come on whoever presents one of your shows on your stations.
I'm sure we'll all be glad to have you as well, Ben.
I may even syndicate one day.
And I'm sure you'll get there. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Question 2. Who were your inspirations in broadcasting growing up?
Well, there was a couple of inspirations because I used to listen to the radio all the time. It was either radio or TV. I either wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be in the broom cupboard back in the old children's BBC days, like Phil Schofield and people like that. But I thought, do you know what? I haven't really got the face for radio, the face for TV. I've got the perfect face for radio. So, I thought I'm going to go into radio. So I sort of grew up listening to people like Simon Mayo on Radio 1. Absolutely used to love going to listen to his show. And I also used to travel around with my parents. My mum and dad used to take me to the Radio on road shows. And I can remember seeing Simon Mayo at a Radio on road show in Scarborough. But another broadcasting legend, and you've spoke to him as well, and I'm absolutely gutted about this, Ben, because I've never been able to interview him. Bruno Brooks, I used to listen to his chart show on a Sunday, and my mum and dad used to think I was a little bit weird because a lot of people used to sit there recording music on their cassette player. I used to not record the music. I used to sit there and record Bruno Brooks doing his links, and then I'd listen to them back, and then I'd pretend that I was Bruno Brooks. So yeah, my broadcasting legends, and I used to listen to them all the time: Simon Mayo and also Bruno Brooks.
Would you like me to after this? Would you like me to send ask his permission to send you his email for a potential interview with him?
Yeah, go for it. I think I'd be quite nervous interviewing him, but I'd give it a good go.
Would you like me to ask him for you after
Yeah,
this
go for it, Ben.
program?
Yeah.
Because I only got the interview from him through him because I asked him through loads. We exchanged lots of emails.
Yeah, definitely. Put my name forward, Ben. I'd love you for that.
Yeah, I'll do it for you after this.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate that.
Then I've got James Wales people ringing me in a bit, so.
Oh dear. I tell you what, I wish I was in your position. Knowing all these people and all these people that you've interviewed and all these broadcasting legends, you're doing really well, Ben. Keep up the good work, mate. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, sir. One of my inspirations growing up was the first ever voice I heard on the radio was actually, I'll tell you the truth, I've archived it, but the first ever voice I heard on radio was Stephanie Hurst on Capital.
Oh yeah, back in the day, classic. I do, yeah.
I do. Yeah, and I wish in a sense she was still on Capital, if I'm honest with you. I wish in a sense she was still on Capital because she was one of my inspirations, and when I interviewed her I almost choked up in emotion because she's such a hero, and I never expected to be speaking to her ever.
Well, I used to listen to Stephanie back in the day on Galaxy, Hursty, Danny, and JoJo at breakfast. I'd always wake up listening to them. I try not to be involved in many breakfast shows through my career, just so I could listen to other breakfast shows in the morning and then get some ideas for my afternoon show. So yeah, I used to get quite a lot of ideas from Stephanie Hurst. Don't tell her.
Have you ever spoke to her before? Or met her? Have you ever met her before? Sorry. Have you ever met her before? Have you ever had the pleasure of meeting her before? Apologies.
Yes, I've met her quite a few times. She's done quite a lot of training days for when I was at the Links FM group, and she used to turn up and talk about radio and point us in the right directions, give us some ideas of where we could do and you know, great links and stuff to put in as radio bits. So yeah, we've met a couple of times now, and she's great at doing talks and talking about radio because that's what she loves. That's what she loves doing, isn't it?
And also, when you were talking about the radio show, Sean Tilley and Smiley Miley have got a big Radio 1 surprise coming.
Have they? I used to love Smiley Miley's I can't even say it. Smiley Miley's mileage game on the Radio 1 Roadshow. I used to love taking part in that.
And also, Sean Tilley says they've got a big surprise coming, but I'm not going to reveal that.
Do you know what it is already, Ben?
No.
Oh,
I've interviewed him. I tried asking him, but it's something big for the radio.
So he's keeping it under his hat at the moment then, yeah?
I know that a few presenters are involved, like Bruno, because he was going to talk to Bruno after he finished with me.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, I look forward to that announcement. Let me know when it's coming.
I don't know, because in next year or this year, I think it's 50 years of the Radio 1 Roadshow.
They might be bringing it back for a one-time special. You never know. That could be the announcement.
Yeah. Question 3. What is your favorite part about the job?
Well as getting up nice and early to present the breakfast show, I never thought I'd do that on breakfast, because I was always a person that used to get up about sort of 10 or 11 or even 12 towards the afternoon and then go in and do an afternoon show. But I actually love getting up now doing the breakfast show because you get a lot more hours in the day. So I get up at 5 every morning, do the breakfast show from 7 until 10. And then I get the rest of the day. I mean, I might have a bit of a nap in the afternoon. Another thing I like doing as well, when we could, before COVID, and that was going out, doing quite a lot of stuff in the TSA, the broadcast area. So meeting listeners, doing outside broadcasts, also doing in-store promotions, just basically turning up and there's nothing better than meeting the person that's listening to you on the other end of the radio, so they can put a name to the face and vice versa. So yeah, everything about the job really is great. The job that I'm doing now for TX1 and RB1, it's a very intense job, as well as presenting 2 shows a day. So I present the breakfast show on RB1 radio, and I also do the big drive home on TX1 radio in the afternoon. So in between that, I have to fit in scheduling the music, scheduling the adverts, putting the adverts onto the playout machine, making sure the adverts sound great and everything like that. So yeah, and also I update the website and also the social media. So yeah, it's quite a busy job for me at the moment. But yeah, I love every part of the job, and I'd lie to you if I said that I didn't, because it's what I wake up for every single day. And as you know, Ben, radio is the best job in the world, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And there's a lot of my friends who are not in the radio work at the moment who should be.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a lot of friends that have, been made redundant from these big commercial radio group takeovers. And, they are having to do other jobs now just to make ends meet, to bring, put food on the table, and big respect for them. And I'll tell you a little secret now. I mean, for the last 6 or 7 months, to make ends meet in between doing radio and stuff, I've been doing work that I never thought I'd do, like delivering pizzas, which I really enjoyed doing. I'd never knock anybody else's job like that. So yeah, I mean, I've been doing jobs like that to make ends meet. So there are a lot of brilliant broadcasters out there that are unfortunately not in radio anymore. They've had to do other jobs, but that's what we're trying to do here at TX1 Radio and RB1 Radio. We're trying to create jobs again for broadcasters that are not doing the job that they love anymore.
And hopefully, it's good, as Bruce Edwards said, it's good that Bauer have moved out the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bruce does a show for us on TX and RB1, and he's a legend now, Bruce is. And, everybody that's in radio, everybody that's still in radio, and everybody, unfortunately, that's not in radio still has radio deep in their heart. And I hope one day that everybody who did a radio show can get back into it. And, there are other ways as well. They can do podcasts and bits and bobs like that, just to keep their voice heard across, the UK and the world. So fingers crossed for those broadcasters. We'll create jobs for them, Ben. Don't worry. We'll create jobs here at TX1 Radio and RB1 Radio.
Yeah, I'd be up for syndicating some of these shows for your station.
We'll meet up, Ben, and we'll get it sorted. We'll get it sorted, definitely.
But I'm not giving them to Beverly FM or WHCR because I want the Chatbox podcasts and BL and Friends podcasts to be outside the region and new listeners.
Yep. You keep doing that, Ben, because it's imaginative, and I understand what you're doing with the podcasts, and you're keeping it to one area and to one radio station. So well done.
But my podcast radio shows are staying to one station, but these ones are being syndicated to different regions because I have more freedom because of my own personal baby.
Yep. Exactly. Keep what you're doing. Stay with what you're doing.
Yeah. And I'm hopeful. Yeah, we'll have a chat about that very soon.
Yeah, definitely, Ben.
Yeah, and I'm hopefully going to do it in the North Yorkshire region as well, and other regions around the country, just so I can. And I'm looking for a premises for recording at the moment. A few premises.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to advertise it in a bit on the social media, and I'm just a broad person who loves radio. You see, I'm a radio nerd.
I think we all are. We've got to be in radio, haven't we? It's sometimes it can be a very cruel job, but you've got to ride the storm and carry on riding the waves, and you'll get to where you want to be in life. If you're not that keen on radio, you'll just bounce off the waves and go in a different direction. But people like us, Ben, that are radio nerds, we're still here and we're still doing what we love best, aren't we?
Yeah, the many people that want to stop us, the bumps in the road. Yeah,
and that's it. I mean, it's you'll always get a bump in the road in your radio career, but it's getting out of it is how you deal with it, and how you carry on in the future.
Yeah, as I say, I'll set you up with Bruno after this interview.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because he loves talking, but he'll only do it over audio at the moment, I think.
Yeah, not video.
Because I think his studio, I'm not sure, he said his studio's not ready till October.
Yeah.
But I'll set you up with it.
You thought he'd have done an interview. You know how when you see it on the telly and you see all these famous people having interviews, they're normally in front of a bookcase, aren't they?
Yeah.
No bookcase behind me, just soundproofing, Ben.
That's good. That's brilliant. You'll have to come down to Hull sometime.
I will do. I'll buy you a coffee, or you can buy me a coffee,
or a cup of tea,
or a cup of tea. Good old mug of Yorkshire tea.
And if ever you come up to our studio and Darren Leatham's about, you'll recognise him, obviously.
Oh, I tell you, I know Darren really well. He talks the hind legs off a donkey, doesn't he? He's very talkative, is our Darren. He's a good lad, our Darren. He's good at what he does.
He worked with Stephanie Hurst at Viking.
Yeah, he did. Wasn't he? He was Stephanie's producer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He
was Stephanie's producer at the time. Yeah, and he still does a great job of it.
We all know each other. We've all bumped into each other in corridors, in studios and buildings.
You ever been inside the old Viking FM building?
Yes, I have. I've been in quite a few different radio stations. I'm a bit of a nerd like that. And
there was a lady who I know called Diane Luke.
Yes, I've heard of Diane.
She lives up in Sheffield, I believe.
Yeah, not far away from us here, actually.
I'm about 2 hours, an hour away from you and South Yorkshire.
Yeah, you're not too far away.
I'm on the banks of the Humber.
Oh, so you can see the Humber Bridge from where you are?
No, I'm joking. I'm on the banks of the Humber in this lovely little big town called Kingston upon Hull.
Kingston upon Hull, of course.
Yeah, and the closest building to me is the BBC downtown.
Yeah.
That's about a half an hour walk. Anyway, question 4. How has COVID affected your life and line of work?
Well as being a radio presenter, I'm also a DJ as well, Ben. So, from a young age, 18, I've DJed clubs, big clubs. I've worked abroad as well in Ibiza, Magaluf and stuff like that. So I've done big clubs. I've done small bars. I've done local bars. I've done local clubs. So, yeah, I mean, straight away, the first thing to close was pubs and clubs. So it affected me quite in a big way, because I was losing quite a lot of money every single weekend. Hence why I had to get other jobs like delivering pizzas. So yeah, it's impacted me quite a lot. I lost quite a lot of money, and sort of whilst lockdown was happening, we were launching TX1 radio and RB1 radio. So that was quite worrying at times, because we are a commercial radio station. We're not a community station, although we do quite a lot of community stuff, and we talk about local things on TX1 radio and RB1 radio. So we were worried about the fact that businesses were closing down. How are we going to be able to fund the radio station? Because we're a commercial station. We need the money coming in from the advertisers. And luckily, Chris Holden, who now runs the radio stations, one of the owners, kept the money coming in due from lockdown. We got a lot of work from the councils and organizations that were, handing out information through lockdown. So yeah, it was quite a scary lockdown situation, but we got through it. And now I've just started getting back into a little bit of DJing as well now, as restrictions slowly start to ease. So, I mean, it's been, luckily I've got a studio at home. So I've worked during the last year and a half, and perhaps a little bit longer than that, in my studio at home. And I've, really, really missed meeting up with presenters. And as I said earlier, there's nothing better than going into your place of work where your studio is and having a chat with the presenter that's on either before you or after you. So yeah, I mean, that's how COVID has affected my life. And with the line of work, it's been quite scary at times, and a bit bum twitchy at times as well, Ben, if to call it that. So yeah, other than that, nothing's changed really.
And also, I remember Darren Leatham telling me a story about when him and Sam Hayward went to see Oasis at the Hull Ice Arena.
I've not heard that story. What's that story, Ben?
Listen to his podcast. It's where
Is it on
Noel
there?
Gallagher did the sound check in 2004. It was at the Hull Arena because a guy called Ed Thomas was covering the event.
Got you. I shall have a listen to that. Definitely one to listen to, is it?
If you know Ed Thomas.
Yes, I've heard of Ed.
He now works for the BBC News.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, but going back to the, COVID, and I'd literally, once we build our studios for TX1 and RB1, I can't wait to have a base for all our broadcasters to come to, and we can all have a chat. We can all have a coffee together, and we can all go out and have some lunch together as well. I cannot wait for it. And
if ever I did come to your station, I wouldn't do it from your station. I'd probably end up doing it from home.
No, that's fine, and that's what we give. That's the good thing. We say to all our broadcasters when that happens, and we do have our own studios.
Just because I can't be bothered to travel as well.
Yeah, exactly. The good thing is a lot of our broadcasters are from Doncaster, Rotherham, and South Yorkshire anyway, so they haven't got far to travel. But they've got that option. A lot of people now have their own, fantastic studios at home, so they've got that, opportunity. They can either come into the studio and do what they want to do, or they can do it from home. They've got the choice, which is the choice that I'm giving them.
Yeah. Brilliant. Question 5, last question on the list. What advice would you give? Keep it short. Because I know you're short on time, so you are. What advice would you give to young aspiring broadcasters who are starting out?
Well, I've done a couple of talks to different colleges and technical colleges, to media students, and I did one for Barnsley College.
Lee Barber's.
Lee Barber got me on to do the talk, and I think I was on there nearly 3 hours, Ben, talking about this question. So I'll keep it short. But what advice would I give to young aspiring broadcasters? Live the dream. Keep sort of pestering program controllers like me. Keep sending them letters. Keep emailing them, even if they turn you down and say, look, we've got no work for you at the moment, but we'll keep you on the books. I mean, I've had loads of program controllers get back to me when I used to write to Trent FM in Nottingham back in the day, and Capital and other big radio stations. I used to get the same letter back saying, we love your voice, we love what you do. Unfortunately, we haven't got any room for you at the moment, but we'll keep you on the books. We'll let you know if there's anything that comes forward. Just keep pestering the program directors. Keep pestering them, keep emailing them, and they'll get that sick of you. They'll offer you a job. Same with you, Ben. Keep pestering everybody that you know, like you're doing already. And just, if you want to be in radio, whether it be radio, television, any broadcast media job, and with social media, if you want to do podcasts, just keep recording yourself, keep honing your skills, and that's the only bit of it, advice I can give to aspiring broadcasters. Just keep practicing. If you listen to another broadcaster, don't copy them. Always be your own. Always do your own style in radio. You can't copy somebody else because, it's just people want to hear something different in radio nowadays. And you don't have to sound like a radio presenter, do you? I mean, you listen to Chris Moyles on Radio X. Back in the day, you wouldn't listen to Chris and think, oh, he's got that usual radio style. He hasn't, but he's got his own personality, and that's where you need to be in radio. You've got to have your own personality, your own style. Keep practicing. Keep sitting in front of a microphone. Keep listening to other broadcasters and getting ideas from them. But as I said, don't copy. That's my bit of advice to aspiring broadcasters who are either at college, university, technical colleges doing media, or if you're just, learning at home, just keep listening to other broadcasters and getting ideas from them.
Brilliant. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining us, Stuart. Do join me again soon for another Chatbox podcast.
Thanks for having me, Ben. It's been great to be on. And, I wish you all the luck in the future. And we're going to talk soon, aren't we, as well, about other bits and bobs?
Hopefully. Other bits and bobs, yeah. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, when we can. But I'm currently focused on my autism show next week at Hull Kingston Radio. And
good luck with that. Good luck with that, mate.
With my 2 co-presenters.
But thanks for having me on, mate. I've really loved it. Thank you for having me on. And I feel humbled that you've asked me. So thank you.
Do join me again soon for another podcast. Thank you very much for listening and watching. And that's a wrap. That was my interview with Stewart Niclson. No more uploads coming tonight, I don't think. Just some outros and intro stuff. So yeah, stick around for that, and I'll talk to you soon. BL out, no more uploads tonight because the outro and intro stuff's already out there, so check it out on my YouTube channel. Talk to you soon. BL out, and that's a wrap.